What's going on, everybody? It is Truth Tuesday. That's right. We are here. I'm Anthony Russo from #BeTheChange. Truth will set you free. Blunt force discussion. Welcome to Truth Tuesday on Truth will set you free and the Great American Syndicate. Forgot to intro that last week. Obviously, you'll see Barb and Dave shortly from there. Please share this episode out there. Hit the like button. Comment as you please. Say hello from where you're from. You know, sometimes we have to be objective in our politics. And I want to be honest, I am not a single party voter, but I am damn close. And if you were to ask me right now, would I vote for Herschel in Georgia for Senate? I would say absolutely yes. And I know that some of the things I said earlier caused a little dissension on the Truth Will Set You Free page. And 99.5 times out of 100, I am a Republican voter right now because of how much the left has completely lost their minds. Watching people freak out because of what I said about Herschel's campaign imploding, which it is right now, is not misinformation. There is, of course, a way to counter this from a campaign perspective, but it is an uphill climb. You can get upset that I brought attention to it, but I feel as though it's important to not be ignorant in other conversations. That's my point. When the left throws stuff out there, we have to have a plan in order to not sound like an idiot like them. With all of that said, I think it's important at this point to support GOP candidates because as a voting body, in order to completely combat this insane covert socialist and communist takeover of this country, this is the only hope we have. We do not have a bipartisan government anymore. That is the government of our past. Our government is simply left versus right at this point. It can change, but right now there's just a few dissenters from each party. We have to protect the ideals of this country, and that's why I will be as close to a single party voter in the midterms as humanly possible. That is why, despite the issues that may arise from somebody like Herschel Walker, it's important to have him in that position. But in the end, remember, the truth will set us free. Let's get the show started. We've got Barb Allen. We've got Dave Brown. We have got Casey Rasmussen. What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
Why do you have the refracted Great American Syndicate there? What's going on? Why is it upside down? It's just going to be permanently upside down. We may need to work on that.
No, just keep. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
See?
Right.
It's real live TV.
What's going on in y'all's world? How's it cracking? What's crack-a-lacking? Casey, go ahead.
I'm just not a single party voter. And we live in a country that's $31 trillion in debt, and you don't make it in the political realm unless you're a celebrity. So it's great.
I dig that. Barb, what's cracking?
What's cracking? I mean, that's always a loaded question, right? So I'm here for the ride tonight. I'll pipe in when I have something that I feel like is meaningful to add, or when I feel like you yahoos need some to get back in line. And off we go.
Dave, you know what? Let's start out with the Great American Syndicate. What's going on? Show us them new boxes. Let's why we're all a team here, and how we'll bring on guests in the near future once we get this format settled. It's 1 hour show. But Dave, what's going on with you? And then we'll get to the truth.
Yeah, so we're starting a annual box subscription. So this is the box when you become an annual member of the Great American Syndicate. You get 2 tickets, 2 VIP tickets that are about $500 a piece to the Great American Summit. They're inside the box. You get a shirt right here. You have this is just kind of like a teaser. We're filling in some more stuff in the box, but we have a print here from our friend Tom Verano, who's a speed painter. So I have one of his original prints. I have one over here. This one is of the Statue of Liberty. It'll be a signed print that he has. He paints these lives like he did at our Great American Summit, which we'll be sharing with you guys here. Probably one of the future episodes, we'll share access to all of the recordings in the full summit, which, by the way, if you become a member, you get access to all those recordings anyway. But we have a lot of unadvertised goodies that we're still going to be adding to the box, including one of those hats that Anthony is wearing right now. We're going to include some books. So what we want to do is just really provide a tremendous amount of value inside of here and make it kind of part of what we're doing with the summit as well. So, including tickets in the summit every year you'll have access to. And so it's just going to be a value-driven box. And we want to encourage all of you to check it out. If you want to get early access to it, you can go over to greatamericansyndicate.com right now. Barb and I and Anthony and Casey, we'd love to have you part of the family.
Every time you say box, I'm going to say, what's in the box?
What's in the box?
Box.
Step one, you
Okay.
put a hole in the box.
Yeah, there you go.
First off, never sing again. Second, I was talking about 7. You were talking about dick in a box. That's why we love Barb. Are you drinking already, Barb?
Tea. I got my tea.
Same here. I got tea to go today, not a sponsor of the show. But yeah, go ahead, go to greatamericansyndicate.com. That is also, once we get comfortable with this format, and to give you an update, I talked to Cash earlier. So those of you on the mailing list, there is 2 things that will be coming out in the next few days. A recording I will send a link to. Cash essentially talking about what he's going through and depression and all that stuff. So you'll get that. And then also kind of overcoming. I will type one out. I will transcribe the next one. You will see all that. If you're not on the mailing list, go to hashtag, I know another website, hashtag BeTheChange.com spelled out. I don't know if we have that anywhere right here. You can just go to that. Hashtag BeTheChange.com. Don't worry about the podcast. Just do it without the podcast. That's where to go. And it'll give you an automatic login. You will be able to get a bunch of the emails. It's taken a while to get some out of them. We already did one, but we'll have another one. Second, as you guys know, Great American Syndicate, we also have our clothing. So I'm wearing the Great Awake Not Woke hat you can find. I also have Awake Not Woke shirt. Taxation is theft is what Casey is wearing right now. We've got the Unvaccinated Lives Matter, etc. You can also, there's t-shirts on the Great American Syndicate page. There's also our clothing as well on the Awake Not Woke page, which that's where we have a bunch of our stuff. So if you want all the different t-shirt options, go there. 15% off with Awake. Did I do that? There it is right there. Awake Not Woke. Did I do awakenotwoke.com? It's actually Awake Not Woke store. And then we will officially start the show. Want to make sure everybody joined. We got a good crowd, 55, not too shabby. You got people from Great American Syndicate, Truth Will Set You Free, and the hashtag BeTheChange page. I love it. Today's show topics. Joe Biden is apparently raised as a Puerto Rican. We have Kanye and Candace wearing White Lives Matter clothing at Kanye's fashion show. Climate change, we're not really going to cover that anymore, but there is a very interesting clip on the control behind it. Herschel Walker, the situation there. Elon Musk Twitter deal, which Dave had a really interesting thing he saw about why Elon Musk might be doing it. Cori Bush is like a typical Democrat, but she is not straying away from the phrase defund the police. For her, sticking to her guns or lack thereof. I think that's it. That's what we're going to get started with. So, ladies and gents, topic number 1. Let's start easy. Let's start about Elon Musk. No graphic needed on this one. Elon Musk deal. If you guys don't know, he is back. It's been in middle ground for a long period of time. So yeah, that's where we're at. $44 billion, $54 stock price. He didn't renegotiate the price, and it sounds like it's going through today. Twitter stock went through the roof. Dave, I know you looked up some stuff right before we got on here. What are your thoughts on this?
I got to find the post that I had before that I saw, but my thoughts, I mean, I don't know. I think he actually slow rolled the process and kind of backtracked a little bit so he could get a better price. Because if we remember when he kind of said he was kind of putting the brakes on, the stock market was really tanking and everyone was talking about the recession and everything else. So there was a lot of doom and gloom conversations out there. So I thought with the whole Twitter bot thing that he thought he could go in there and maybe negotiate a cheaper price. And it turned out that kind of didn't happen. And I think he also had another plan in the works. So I think he always intended to go through with it. I think he, like any good business person, he was going to take a shot at getting a cheaper price.
Yeah, and I think he still could have. I'm confused. That's my confusion is why I didn't renegotiate. Casey, what do you think on this, tech nerd?
Well, the big thing about renegotiation is you don't know exactly where the stocks or the value of the company is going to go. And during that negotiation, it could actually go up and negatively affect him because he could have to pay more. And so what he was doing is I think he was just seeing what would happen. He would buy Twitter if it went through, or he would expose Twitter. I don't think he was 100% all in one way or another. I think if it was going to work out, great. If it wasn't, great. I think it was going to be a win-win for him. Either he buys the company or he exposes the company for what they were, which is all the bots and all of the fake accounts that are there. It was going to come out.
Yeah, I think they did that. I think that's exactly what happened with the bots, but he didn't negotiate a lower price. And I think that Dave had that article. Did you re-find it? Did you already read it?
Well, he just put out like a cryptic tweet that that him buying it is a good kind of slow move towards this next app that he's coming out with, maybe called X app, which does everything. Whatever that means, I don't know.
So, I mean, they have, what is it, Weibo in China, I believe, I think that's what they call it. I think that, and the interesting thing about Elon, as much as he's become the conservative darling, he is very big on Chinese technology. And I think he sees Twitter as an entry point. And again, the stock price isn't going to go up. He's going to take it private. If you look at the options for the stock today, it capped at 54. There's no reason to go above $54. Because that is the price that he's paying for it. And then he will make it private, which will allow him to do whatever he wants with the app. I think I said in the very beginning today, I was like, I feel like he's got a bigger master plan. And it was interesting that Dave found that cryptic tweet, because I think there's something to that. If he can essentially control land, space, and then now social media, I think it's a master play to where things might be going. Barb,
yeah, he put buying Twitter as an accelerant to creating X, the everything app. That's a direct quote.
I think it's true, because that gives him, again, the strangleholds on social media. You've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got TikTok, and you've got Instagram. Am I missing anything at this point?
You forgot Parler, you forgot Getter, you forgot about True Social, all of those other ones.
They don't play in the same sandbox. and I know, as much as everybody loves those, I know that follows us, it's unfortunate, but there is the big four essentially, and Facebook controls two of them. So Twitter, I think, with his technological know-how and his big thinking, I think can make an actual dent in that. And I think creating a master app would be pretty big. Barb, what do you got?
What I got is just, I think this is another example of having to kind of hold our breath, cross our fingers, say a prayer, whatever it is you want to do, and hope that Elon's a good guy, because he already has so much power, right? And now it seems like if he comes out with this app, he's going to have, like you were saying, another stronghold on another part of life that has become addictive. But it's like a must-have to people across the world. It's not even like the internet and social media are not even like a want anymore. They're a need, that people need to have this presence in their life. They need to use it. It's how people run the business, run their lives, their relationships. So for Elon to come out and create another app, another avenue that more people, it's just another area for people to buy more into him. I don't know. It could be a good thing, or it could be another bad, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? So let's hope that he's an exception to this rule.
So I have another thought, Anthony.
Go ahead.
Kind of counter to your point is, like, Elon always talks about humanity, right, and the rights of humanity, freedom and democracy, right? And he talks about occupying Mars, and he talks about, he has Starlink, right, which Ukraine, the people couldn't use social media or the internet. So he launched Starlink so the people of Ukraine could communicate and get what's happening out to the world. You saw in Iran, right? Like the women's protest, and Iran shuts down the internet where people can't get out what's happening. What does he do? He puts freaking Starlink out there, and now they can show what's happening. So I feel like this X app is really like a humanity app where people across the world, and nations that are oppressed and are struggling, can get their voices out and promote freedom and democracy. That's my optimistic look on what he's trying to accomplish.
And again, I'd like to be optimistic. He has poo-pooed essentially the WEF since he was a part of it. I think here's like what Barb said. It's controlling our lives as is. There's no way to step back from the internet unless there is this massive war that cuts down all of our communication. So if we can't shut it down and go back to full-blown civility and not having our heads buried in a cell phone, at least we can have somebody that hopefully believes in the bastion of freedom of speech. We don't agree with everything with Elon, I guarantee you, but I think it gives an opportunity. Without this, I think that the internet's going to be massively controlled. And I think, to Dave's point, I think it's huge to say that. With that, there was an interesting point when I said it on Facebook. One of the Trump haters, whatever, he said Elon's a moron. Like, okay, you can dislike Elon 100%, but to call him an idiot or a moron to one of the most brilliant men, this is a guy worth hundreds of billions of dollars. I'm pretty sure that is a typical leftist, just falsity, plain and simple. And I find it funny because that shows how absolutely dumb the other argument is.
Yeah.
Casey,
Albert Einstein's a moron too, right?
Yeah, well, he was for a bit, it turns out, but of course, then he got a lot smarter. Casey, you got anything else on this before we wrap it?
Just trying to figure out how to become a billionaire moron, but that's all right. I'll figure that out one day.
That's good stuff. All right, next let's move on over to Herschel Walker because that caused a little heat for me earlier. Before I get to it, I do have this comment that I want to throw up there about Cash. Somebody was asking, his hearing is on Friday. It is still on Friday. I asked him, by the way, if he's talked to his lawyer at all since the postponement a month ago. Not a single effing time. Just to bring that up because I think that's absolutely absurd to not even get a chance to talk to your lawyer.
So Anthony, I'm sitting on my couch a few days ago and my son shoots me a text. He's like, hey, this might be good for your TikTok, right? So I open it up and it's a video of Cash when he's talking to the other person about why is he voting for Biden and why he should be voting for Trump, and he educates the guy and all the things that Trump did, blah, 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 blah. And I thought that was funny. I'm like, you know what? One of our partners here now, knows Cash, is close to him. And so it was just kind of cool that my son kind of discovered his content on the internet, which I think is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. His video I got it sent to me a couple times over the weekend. When I came back in service, I got a couple messages and I was like, his videos are going around again. I wonder what happened.
Yeah.
He's calling me right now. He does not listen when I said do not,
We got to turn him into the next Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Once I get this phone situation where I can plug in the phone, we'll figure it out. Once I get better with schedule, we'll have him pipe in on a couple shows. I did ask an interesting question, by the way. I was like, out of all the guys in there, the people you're in there with, would they vote if they all get out and they're allowed to vote non-felonies, whatever, would they vote for Trump again in the next election? And he said it was a resounding yes. Like, really? I go, what about the primary? And I get the general election, no doubt. I said, what about the primary? Are you still? And they are all still Trump voters. I was like, that is fascinating. Interesting. I'm a Trump voter if he is the Republican nominee. I don't think I'll vote for him in the primary personally. But anyways, send me that video. I wonder who actually did it, Dave, because I know a lot of people have been chopping up his videos. What do we got? Let's go ahead and do the Herschel Walker. I know I got a lot of flack. As I said, I'm going to go ahead and throw this video up.
In serious accusations that in 2009 that you paid for an abortion. First question, do you know the woman that is making this allegation?
I have no idea, but it is a flat out lie. And now you know how important this seat is. This seat is very important, that they'll do anything to win this seat, lie, because they want to make it by everything else except what the true problems that we have in this country is. This inflation, the border wide open, crime. They don't want to talk about that. So they're making up lies now because they need this Georgia seat. So I'm going to encourage anyone out there, let's not let them take this seat. If you can go to teamherschel.com, let's not let them take this seat, because if they take this seat, we won't recognize this country tomorrow. Because right now, for them to come out with total lies, I think that's not right.
Let me ask you this.
So this is an interesting point. I want to stop it just because it is a longer clip. But I think it's fascinating that he's become a true politician, because he did divert a bit from the question at hand. So to people like Jay Kennedy in our comments saying that he is an idiot, he's not smart, he has become quite sharp, to be honest. And I've seen him in interviews. I don't think Herschel Walker is an idiot. He's Southern. He talks like a Georgian. He's got that kind of that accent to him. So maybe, the leftist Dem who's not supposed to be racist, I think just deems a Southern black man as not intelligent just because of the way his voice. But anyways, I'll finish up. It's about a minute and a half left.
So they're claiming that on September 12th of 2009 that the woman has a receipt for an abortion. They're claiming that 5 days later, on September 17th, you sent a $700 check and that you sent it in a Get Well card. The Get Well card, it looks like it's included with your signature in the article. Have you seen it? And is that your signature?
I haven't seen it, but, I can tell you, I send out so many Get Well, send out so much of anything. But I can tell you right now, I never asked anyone to get an abortion. I never paid for an abortion, and it's a lie. And I'm going to continue to fight. I tell you, that's what they want. They want this seat. But right now, they've energized me even more. And they're not going to take the seat. So they better.
So I can end it here. He goes on a little bit more talking about the $700 check and all the things. And he says that he's a giving person. He's a Christian. I'm watching all of my soundproofing fall down as we speak. So much for that. Worth a shot. Shitty walls. So that's the story. And I just said it's imploding. It does. There's, to me, can anybody answer this question? Could this be a good thing for his campaign at all?
Yeah, if it's a lie.
Valid. I agree. And there's a way to spin it because it is. I mean, I think it's weird that he wrote a check. I agree. I think there's a way to spin out of it. I think Christian Walker, his response is what is very odd to me. And we'll get to that in a second. Before we do, any other opinions on this specific?
On this specifically, the part that I find interesting is if it is a smear campaign by the government, they're getting really good at it because if you look at all the prior ones, they don't have dates. Look at what they did to Judge Kavanaugh. Oh, it happened in the spring or summer or the fall. Like things moved around. They actually have specific dates in this scenario, and they have a photo of a card. Now, the card, I'm sure Herschel Walker has some sort of a nonprofit that someone could have wrote into, and they just replied with a generic card, get well soon or something, right? So that card could have came from anything. The important part to me is that check. I want to see a picture of the check. Who was it wrote out to? And all of that detail. None of that's released. But they have a date. And that is not normal in smear campaigns in politics. So I see this as a little different than your traditional, I hate this person, we're trying to get him out of the way.
Yeah, and this is the definition of an October surprise. And to everybody that we get very tribal. Everybody got very upset. They're like, why would you bring this up? And they're like, this is full of lies. All I said in the post was the Herschel Walker campaign is imploding while we watch. And it is like, this is a very negative thing. Like and I said, it's an October surprise. This is the definition of an October surprise. If you think it's blatant lies, it could be, but let's look at the Hunter Biden laptop, for example. We all wanted that to come out. So I think there needs to be a discussion on whether or not this is truth. And I'll show Christian's tweets in a second. Barb, what do you got?
I think, you hope it's not true, right? Either path, if it's not true, I hope that comes out before the elections and is proven. And then a spotlight is shown on people in a way that they cannot deny these smear campaigns and the false tactics and the manipulation going on. And B, if it is true, I think he could have spun it if he was sincere about it, depending on how he felt about it. If it was true and he's denied it, then I don't think he should be in office if it was true and he denied it. But if it was true and he came out and said, you know what? Yes, this is true. I am ashamed of this. This is a situation. This is why I'm against abortion today, because I went through this. He could have used it as a personal experience and turned it into a positive teaching point and talking point, because we all evolve. We all change over time. We all do things that we learn from and grow from. So if it was true, I would have liked to have seen him own it and come out and use that, actually, because perhaps that was part of his evolution. But if it was true and he denied it, he's done, I think. And I think he should be done.
Well, I agree, Barb. And I think, and that's my big point is, and that's why I think it's so dangerous. We play this super moral high ground.
Yeah.
I think that's so dangerous because I know a lot. I mean, this guy's an ex-NFL athlete, an ex-college player, like there was women all around. And right. I think playing this super ultra pro-life or pro-Christian look without a little bit of onus of your past can get very dangerous. And I think we might see it here. With that, even if he is lying, the other candidate, Warnock, also tried running over his wife. So both guys technically have the skeletons in their closet.
Correct. then let's put one up against the other, fully transparent, and let people choose the lesser evil or the person who's evolved or whatever. But I don't think that doing something like this in your past was enough to vilify someone or whatever. We all grow, we all evolve, and I would have almost felt better if he came out and said, yes, this is true. This is the story. This is how I've grown, this is whatever, because there's a good chance it is true. There's a good chance it's not. None of us know. We're not there. We're not him. We don't know anything. We're all making assumptions about somebody that we don't know.
Right.
And the fact that they're using an anonymous person again, I'm just, like, either if she's coming out there, then fucking own it. If you're going to try to take down somebody's career and destroy them and like ruin everything they've worked for and demolish a campaign, then own it. Then come on out and put your name to it.
See, Jack nailed it there. So like you said, Barb, this is in the world of politics, easy denial. And honestly, I think what he did on Hannity was fine. This morning, his responses were fine. This is where there's a problem. But then there's more to it, because I did say the big issue of this is the Christian Walker side. I'm going to pull up some tweets, which start out looking very bad, but then you go back and it's like, well, that's weird. And if anybody doesn't know who Christian Walker is, that's his son. Super big influencer, absolutely flamboyantly gay. I think he's incredibly funny. I know Suni used to hate him, but I've heard nothing but good things for people that have met him. So here's his tweets. I know my mom and I would have really appreciated if my father, Herschel Walker, stopped lying and making a mockery of us. You're not a family man when you left us to bang a bunch of women, threatened to kill us, and had us move over 6 times in 6 months running from your violence. This was yesterday. Let's see. I think there was another one. So there was another one that he said, so this is the second, this is also similar time. I don't care about someone who's had a bad past and takes accountability, like Barb just said, but how dare you lie and act as though you are some moral, Christian, upright man. You've lived a life destroying other people's lives. How dare you? So the last thing I remember seeing another one of his posts, it simply said, we all said to him to not run and air the dirty laundry of his life and our family. So that to me looks pretty bad. But, and I'll keep going and then we'll talk about it. People, of course, the internet is forever. So I'm like, there's no way that he needs money. He makes plenty of money as an influencer. People are saying, did he get cut off by his dad? I don't know. I don't think he really needs it. And I'm sure the mom has plenty of money from their divorce. But then if you look back, this isn't very long ago. This is 2020. Thankful I had a black father who empowered me to be a victor, supported me on my endeavors instead of pouring victimhood into me and telling me I'm oppressed. Happy Father's Day. Again, that's still not enough to reverse course. Now, this is the one that I find interesting. So this was a year ago, a little over a year ago, when he started the campaign. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for all you do and your love of our great country. Can't see what all you'll do. And this is while he started running politics. So that's a pretty big reversal of course. So that's, to me, a little bit weird. So what do y'all think on that one?
That is weird. That's just like more of, none of us know what's really going on. Like, that's just all back and forth. I think it's like, I almost think it's a waste of energy to sit here and try to figure out he said, she said, who's telling the truth, who's not. It's freaking exhausting. Nobody is honest about anything, really.
I got to bring up Prather's statement. I didn't even see he commented on it. Christian, it's a proven fact you've supported your dad and spoken highly of him. Now you're admitting that you have a track record of being a liar. Oh.
I was just going to say that. I pulled up a bunch of his tweets today because I was like, I swear, because I watched his video. You were referring to his video that he did on Twitter, which it was his whole family came together and said, hey, don't run because all of your dirty laundry is going to get out there. And when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I swear you promoted your dad and you actually supported him through this because you're in this video saying you didn't. And I went back and looked through a bunch of them, and yeah, he actually was supportive of it and talked about it. And it's sad because he's accusing his dad of being a liar and everything out there, but turns out he's actually doing the same thing. And so this is where I started off by saying you can only be successful in politics as if you're a celebrity, because all of these people are just playing the media just to keep their name out there and be relevant. That's all that's happening.
I love people. There's a Twitter account named The Boxing Fetus saying it's real. Here, I can pull it up. called the boxing fetus. I think this is interesting. This is the typical response from people on the left saying, or whomever, saying this is fake. It's been debunked. They love the word debunked. Everybody knows that I love making fun of the way they say debunked because they use it without realizing in order to debunk something, you actually have to fucking debunk it. Sorry, Nancy. So how is it debunked when it's on his timeline right now? So it's actually, if you scroll back far enough, it is actually on his timeline. So no, it's not debunked. I hate how the left uses that word. Anyway,
so remember when 50 high-level intelligence officers all signed and said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation? That was debunked like 2 days before the election, but everyone still, no one got to know the truth. And now we're supposed to believe that some freaking greeting card is proof that he paid for an abortion 13 years ago.
Yeah.
It's all hearsay. There is nothing. It's a big nothing burger right now. There is no proof of anything. And if I was in Georgia, I'd be voting for Walker up and down, left and right,
100%.
all day long, because he is better than the alternative right now. It's the lesser of two evils. I don't care if he paid for 3 abortions. I'd probably still freaking vote for the guy, just because we're at a crossroads in our country right now that my personal belief is I can't support any single person on the left right now. I hope the Democratic Party comes back to earth and gets their head on straight, because we need a viable Democratic Party that has reason and logic based in their policies. And yes, look, integrity matters. So this is if it is true, it's a big, it's not a good thing for Herschel Walker and his integrity. But again, it's the lesser of two evils. And everyone in Washington is a hypocrite, and this is no different. But look, there's no proof, right? This is we got to see the proof. Like, to Casey's point, who is the check written to? Is it written to Planned Parenthood? I thought Planned Parenthood, I didn't think you needed to pay for it. So what's the $700? You know how many things Herschel Walker probably writes checks to, like charities, gifts, friends, business partners. All they have is a greeting card that says "Get well." I mean, really? And this is a story now?
So my last question then goes back to my first question. And like you said, and like I said in the monologue, if you guys liked the monologue this week, go ahead and let me know in the chat. Or if you didn't like it, let me know in the chat. It's a big deal again right now, the pivotal point in our country, to vote for the lesser of two evils, which right now is blanket right as humanly possible. Now, with that said, and again, this is, especially seeing some of the issues with Christian Walker's Twitter, a big fat nothing burger, regardless. And the GOP leader in Georgia also, I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Kemp, but he said this, there's no way to paint this as a good thing right now. So to my original question, would you consider this a negative thing for the Herschel Walker campaign?
Only if it's proven to be true.
Yeah, only if it's proven to be true. Exactly.
But you're not hearing me. This is not the way a rational person thinks. Yes, it should need to be proven true. I'm talking about to the voter in Georgia, where we're assuming that everybody is intelligent and well thought out as us. Is this a bad thing for the campaign with today's voting mind?
Well, if you're like Trump, all news is good news, bad or good, right? Because now Walker's out there, he's on TV, he's getting interviewed, he's getting publicity. So it depends on how you want to look at it. All right,
Casey, yes.
I will say yes, and the reason why I say yes is anybody that was really wanting change in their state, Alabama, in Georgia, when they wanted some change and they already have their existing incumbent, it's very difficult to unseat a current sitting senator or politician in general. Very difficult. So if you were to replace them, all you need is a huge campaign that's in your favor. Right now, there's not much going in his favor. And so this is going to make it that much more difficult to unseat an incumbent. And so I don't see this as a positive at all. Now, yes, any publicity is what you're thinking of, Dave. But in the realm of politics, when you have the left side that people may want to see some change, they might go back and be like, no, never mind. I'm not going to switch at all.
That's what I'm afraid of. All right, we're going to do a quick little commercial run. I didn't even look. Where is it? just real fast, guys. We've actually had a lot of people ordering from thedrartistshow.com. So let me see if I could throw it up on the bottom. Go to thedrartistshow.com. Casey, can you help me out and see if that's in the banners? Use BFD at, oh, there it is. I got it. Never mind. 10% at checkout. I think there might even be a deal right now where you're getting 20% off the rest of the stuff on the website. So go to thedrartistshow.com. Use BFD at checkout. I know you guys, actually, some of our viewers from this and Blunt Force Discussion have been seeing that. So please check that out. Again, that's thedrartistshow.com. Let's see, one other thing. We've got bluntforce.mymonate.com. You'll see that on the bottom. That is hair care. I'm actually going to be hanging out with Tony Van Schoik, as I got introduced to from Barb and Dave, of course. She's going to be in Dallas on the 17th. There's going to be a party. We're going to hang out. And I know she's going to be on Marie Cosgrove's show as well. But if you guys are interested in the hair care products that I use, Kelly now uses, bluntforce.mymonate.com. If you would actually like to be in the business, which, holy crap, there are things called MLM, like hate groups. I've never seen anything like this. They will just find people's posts. It's crazy. And they hate people. Like it is scary. And I've never been a fan of MLMs, never have. But that doesn't mean that people don't actually make money on them. Anyways, go to bluntforce.mymonate.com. And lastly, for this week, if you guys didn't catch Blunt Force Discussion, it's because it wasn't on YouTube. Because I got a 1 week strike, and it will be the last week's episode with Chad O. Jackson from Uncle Tom 2 will be on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. And then we've got Tony Watley. It was an awesome show, Side Hustle Millionaire, also met through Barb and Dave. He will be our Sunday night show at 7 o'clock. So make sure you turn on. It's live, but again, you can watch it anytime. So that's all we got on that. You'll enjoy it. Let's go to our next show topic. What do we want to do? Let's talk about climate change and mind control. This is an interesting clip. I want to play this. Tell me what you guys think. A little bit on the creepy side.
Partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. We own the science, and we think that the world, should know it.
Yeah, the words of tyranny right there. We own the science. We are the same thing you heard from Anthony Fauci. He was the science. Therefore, you had to listen to him no matter how wrong he was. And now you have this UN official saying we own the science. Therefore, we are working with search engines to prevent you from seeing information that rebuts some of the things that we are saying. And the informational environment is just going to get worse here because there are so many people at the very top who are full-on convinced that they know better than you, and therefore they get to dictate terms to you and prevent you from seeing any sort of dissenting information.
Can somebody tell the UN that there has not been a single climate alarmist that has been correct for 50 years? And they're the ones saying that they control the information. I thought that was a terrifying clip that Ben Shapiro shared, one of the main people at the UN. What do you, Barb? I feel like you want to say something. So go ahead.
I mean, literally his point exactly is what struck me. Her saying we own the science. I think that right there is really representative of what's going on in this world, in this country today, is that there are superpowers, if you will, that are controlling everything behind the scenes. But now they're coming out. They're saying the quiet part out loud, right? Like they're showing us behind the curtain. And why people are not picking up on this, why that alone doesn't make people go deeper than a headline or a fucking meme or a little like article that somebody wrote. Like, don't even look at one article. Go find this person, do some background check before you come to any conclusion. If this stuff is not proving that we all of us across the board need to dig deeper and have a little more meat to the bone before we chew on it, before we commit to that. I don't know what will.
Dave?
Oh man, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I wouldn't call myself a denier, but I don't think it's an existential threat. I'm not saying climate change isn't real. I just don't believe that us, I don't think we contribute to it the way that science might say. Let's not forget how old this planet is and how long it's been around, right? Was it 4.5 billion years old? It's a time that none of us can even comprehend. We are just a little piece of sand on the beach. We are just a speck of dust floating in the air, based when you compare it to time. To think that we can control the climate or improve the climate, I think is ridiculous. I'm all for taking care of our own little backyards and being responsible and recycling and all those things. Like I'm pro that. I'm pro, different energy resources and being proactive with the climate. But I mean, come on. And then saying that you own the science and you're going to manipulate search engines so people can't do their own research and come to their own conclusions. That's borderline tyranny.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, you ended with it. It's borderline tyranny. I lost a lot of it. The last that I had respect of the UN and WHO during COVID. And so all of that, both of those, they're just global organizations to try to create a single point of control, very similar to what the Federal Reserve is for the banking system. No, I don't care what they say. I don't believe anything that comes out of their mouths anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, and from is climate change happening? Can't prove that it's humans, like Dave said. You can look at science and say that it points to certain things that could be even all the way to cows and meth. You can say that, but the interesting thing is, and one of the guys that I will be having on a live or some kind of recorded show, who is far on the left, and you could tell just by looking at his picture, not to be judgmental, but he's got the big curly hair. The big thing is they talk about. There's all this climate change happening, and the articles that people use to prove it even say that they're not proving that this 1 degree change in the last 100 years. First off, they think it has to do with humans. One, they think. And two, they cannot provide empirical evidence that shows that it is going to cause disasters. There's no way to say that it's a degree up, and nothing that they predicted would happen with that degree has happened. So why do we think it's going to happen? And as we looked at with hurricanes, the hurricanes were stronger 100 years ago. So it's all just, to me, I'm not a climate change denier either. I do believe climate change is happening. We don't know why, but I've got some weird questions. China, they had the Summer Olympics several years ago. Somehow the smog just cleared that month. How did they have the fucking power to do that? Somebody riddle me that question. How is it that they were able to do these things? I think we have a lot more power to control, maybe not weather, but the atmosphere. By the way, every single soundproof has dropped except for 3.
We can tell.
Just watching that in the background. But I think it's mind-boggling that we can continue to follow people that have been wrong time and time again and think that this is just something to change the world over. It's a huge money grab, just like vaccines.
Yep, there you go.
All right, what do we got next? Let's go. We're going to end with the funny Biden is Puerto Rican, because that is so fun.
I knew it.
That we're ending on that one?
No, I knew he was.
Oh, I didn't,
It's also a truck driver, too. Did you hear that?
He's a what driver?
He's a truck driver. He was a truck driver.
Truck driver. He was Puerto Rican. He let little kids play with his leg hair. He was corn pop.
Well, that one's true.
He was head of his class in college.
Also alive.
Yeah.
Anyways, he never once plagiarized a speech or a piece of paper either in college, or writing, whatever it's called. He is
all I'm hearing is the definition of a politician.
How the fuck is he president? All right, here's Cori Bush defending defund the police.
You've stuck by it. In fact, you're one of the few Democrats now who still says, let's defund the police. Are you worried at all that could hurt some of your colleagues going into the midterm elections?
See, the thing about defund the police is we have to tell the entire narrative. People hear defund the police, but you know what they'll say? Say reallocate, say divest, say move. But it's still the same thing. We can't get caught up on the words. People spend more time focusing on the word defund than they spend on caring and addressing the problem of police violence in this country.
fuck is she talking about? I'm going to be honest. Out of all the politicians in this country, Cori Bush ranks near the top. I mean, she's, to me, I even dislike her more than AOC. To be totally honest, I really do. She's to me one of the biggest hypocrites. Her rhetoric is based in pure hate, white hate, and she's just an idiot, in my opinion. Thoughts on this lovely lady, Dave?
She's an idiot. I mean, that's my thought. She's an idiot. Like she says, don't get caught up on the words of defund the police, but like, it's defund the police. It's the action is in the words on what you want to do. And so if your point is ending police brutality, and then campaign on that. Defunding the police helps nobody, and it hurts the people the most in the inner city communities, in the poor communities. That's who gets hurt the most when you defund the police, when police leave the force in record numbers because of everything this rhetoric that's been going on the last 2 years. And then people wonder why you see crime happening across every blue city in America. This is what you get. And the fact that she's still standing on this, like planting her flag with this is ridiculous. And eventually it's going to hurt her and she'll be removed. So that's the good thing. So keep it up, Cori Bush. You're doing great.
Yeah, I love the fact that she's doubled down on one of the dumbest policies that they've ever platformed on the left. So, I mean, kudos to her for sticking to her guns. Or
I think she's the only, like maybe two others are actually still talking about that. Yeah. I don't know. Still saying it's a good thing. Like her party has already made the statement. Like they disagree. It's not about defund the police. Like whatever.
I mean, it's absolutely insane to even in a world where we've got zero cash bail, we're letting criminals out, we're not allowing police officers to chase people. It's a clusterfuck. It is an absolute and utter shit show, and it is the opposite way to deal with crime. And if it's somebody that wants to get away from racism, I'm not going to lie, by continuing to let out the criminals that are out there that are in some of these inner cities, predominantly black, and then not having police officers to protect black neighborhoods, you're actually being a racist against your own people, in my opinion, because you're killing them off. That's and you're letting them rob each other. It's bullshit. Anybody else? Either of you guys have something to say on this?
I think she just personifies all the stereotypes, all the things that I can't stand about the left. I mean, that's it. If you say she is just the cookie cutter, every policy I cannot stand, that seems as if it's designed to destroy communities and destroy the country. She's just screaming it proudly and loudly. And I have no words other than that. Like she is, like they said, huh?
Police situations that they're saying, you know, what's going on. Bring the social worker to that and see what happens, how fast somebody is going to get.
Did you hear Ted Kennedy's quote? He came out and said he has an ad out there that he put, and he just, I just saw it today. And it was like, you know, if you really hate the police, you want to defund the police, you hate the police, nice, Casey, just for hating the police, then how about the next time you get in trouble, go ahead and call a crackhead. That's what Ted Kennedy said.
He's funny.
Yeah.
Fan of him. I like this one. It's going to be The Purge. I think there should be one day a year, not like The Purge, like the movie. I think there'd be a purge where one day a year, everybody has to say on social media, like the trolls have to give their home address. I think that's just fair. I love this cat. Oh, it's so good. All right. What do we got next? We are going to Kanye and Candace. Kanye and Candace. I got a photo on this one. So if you guys haven't seen Kanye West, who is not always a Blexit fan, he actually did not like that they used his name or used kind of his new Christian movement several years ago, talking about the black exit from the Democrat Party. And he actually went after Candace Owens at one point, but apparently they've become friends. And this is him at his fashion show where they are, I don't know if they're trolling what they're doing, but they're wearing the White Lives Matter shirts. So here's what we got. What, Casey, it looks like you're already shaking your head. What are your thoughts on this move?
I just don't see the point. I honestly don't. It's the same as wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt. I don't see the point in it anymore. Or why just keep stirring the pot in that way? We know it's not going to, you're just going to appease to a certain group of people, not everyone that you associate with. And you're just going to get the far other side upset too. And then they'll just keep pushing from their end. Like, but again, it's a free country. They can do what they want. I just don't see the point in it.
Interesting take. Dave?
I think he's just making a mockery of it. Like, he's just pointing out how ridiculous the Black Lives Matter slogan is to begin with, because clearly all lives matter, right? And to go back to, I mean, this is one of the first things that like got me so into what Cash was saying. You know, his very first video was like, Black Lives Matter can only matter when blacks actually start caring about other Black lives.
Right.
Like their own lives, like the crime and the gangs and the stuff that they're doing to each other in their communities. Like that needs to be taken care of first. Right. So I think Kanye is just making fun of the movement. And he came out afterwards saying that the whole Black Lives Matter thing is a scam. It's a fraud. And it's been proven to be so. Like, these people enrich themselves off of a news story, and they did nothing, literally nothing, to give back to the Black community.
Which is true.
It is a sham.
But what has Black Lives Matter done to make them relevant over the last 12 months?
Nothing. Except
they haven't done anything.
The public
is continually attacked by people from that side. Like, for her, it is a relevant issue because it keeps coming up to her. I don't know that much about Kanye West. I don't really follow him. But Candace, it is relevant. It is something she is frequently challenged on. It is something she speaks on. She speaks passionately about. And for her, it's not something that comes and goes, right? It's relevant. And I imagine, she's probably just sick of it. And so, again, pointing out the hypocrisy, because this is one way to say, well, if Black Lives Matter is okay, then why isn't White Lives Matter okay? And so for her, it is maybe she's got tired of hearing all the crap thrown at her. And she's like, fine, take this and see what you do with that. And yeah, it is stirring the pot, of course, but sometimes that pot needs to be stirred.
Exactly.
So light, and I agree. And so I'm on the side of, I love this. I love people in positions that can speak out, because some of us don't have the platform to do it. But I said, and this reminds me of the potential, and I said this a week ago, actually, to Mike Fallett, because I saw something on Reddit, and he was like, it would have already came out already. So everybody knows the big titty teacher in Canada, right? The trans teacher in Canada, that it was the shop teacher. Did we all see that? So there is rumors, and I saw this a week and a half ago, and now it's being covered on mainstream media, that this gentleman was almost fired for toxic masculinity. And this is his ultimate troll of the system, saying, if I do this, I can get away with whatever I want to. There is that rumor, and now it's actually being perpetrated on mainstream media. We will see if that is, I don't know. Will we see? I don't know. But I think that's an interesting take to essentially the same as this White Lives Matter thing. Let's just troll the shit out of all this corruption. Patrice Cullors, Black Lives Matter, not a single dollar to Black communities. Not a single one. Some of the local factions did good, like Hawk Newsom, even though I think he's a raging piece of shit. He actually did decent things with the poor, underprivileged Black communities. Cool. I think he's also a race baiter, and I think there's a lot of problems. But the actual organization did not do a single thing for Black people. Patrice Cullors, $1 million homes, a few of them, and a gigantic salary for her ex-boyfriend. And one of the other organizers, I think, said that they just found $9 million in his little war chest. So, yeah, I think it's an ultimate troll, and I think it's bringing light to the fact that there's just some bullshit going on. So I've got no problem with it. Casey, I like your take, but yeah. So
let's remember when Black Lives Matter came out, the organization, the charity, like this is right after George Floyd, right? I went to their website and I clicked donate, and when you donate to Black Lives Matter, maybe they changed it, but right after that, the money was being controlled by Act Blue. And you know what Act Blue is? It's a charitable donation platform for the Democratic Party. So that's how I view Black Lives Matter. It was a front to raise money for the Democratic Party. And that's why they've gotten away with what they've gotten away with by taking all these people's money and not being held accountable. That's why investigations aren't going on. If any of us did that with a charity, we'd probably be going to jail and being fined right now, and be massive investigations. But because it was used to raise money for the Democratic Party, it's getting swept under the rug.
I'm at their website right now, and there is no, I can't find, there's help us. They're also saying that, make no mistake, the allegations of Melina Abdullah are false. I don't know how they can be false. But I don't see a donate anymore.
I have a greeting card that proves otherwise.
What do you mean? Oh no, you're right. Oh no, I have a greeting card. That's funny. I like what you did there. Took me a second. But the interesting thing, like you said about Act Blue, if you went onto Snopes, and this is my perfect example of why I love Snopes, is Snopes said that was false about the Democrat Party. They found like a way to say it's false. But then in the actual subtext, they explained word for word why it's true. And it was brilliant. I'm like, and this is why I love Snopes. They literally do their research. They prove it right for you. You just can't pay attention to their synopsis at the end. But it is blatantly true that it went to Act Blue, and all it did is go to Democrat candidates.
In February 2022, they shut down all donations.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I was like, I have something in my brain that I remember that they shut it down, and yeah.
Yeah. So if you're actually giving back to your community and making an impact ongoing, you don't shut down donations, right? Because you have a passion, you have a vision, you have purpose.
Right.
Yeah, we all believe Black Lives Matter, even those ones you deem racist conservatives. In the words of Kid Rock himself, Black Lives Matter, no shit, motherfucker. Let's clip the next clip of Biden being Puerto Rican.
We have a very, in relative terms, large Puerto Rican population in Delaware. And so I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home, politically.
My favorite thing about that video, and you couldn't really see her on this clip, but watching Joe Biden in the background, she is like, oh my God, no, he's not. Oh, like you could just hear how pissed and annoyed and like, are you fucking kidding me with this dumbass again? Like she was ready. She wanted to just yank him right off there and stuff him someplace where he'll never be able to speak again. I think she was very telling there. So for me, that was the best part of that. If there is a quote best part, it's not funny, right? It's not funny anymore. It is fucking scary and tragic and all those things. But the four of us sitting here, all we can really do is keep pointing it out and find something humorous about it, because I don't know what else to do, and pray and pray.
How much more can one side friggin' pander? Like, this is the guy that played music. There was another one of him that asked for a pronunciation of a guy that literally had a completely common name that needed no pronunciation. It's like, this is a blatant racist. A blatant racist. If you want to use it, you know what? It is shocking that this goes on. And the left, like, I want the left to answer to this without saying Trump's name in the response.
Right.
Won't happen. And at least he didn't walk out to Despacito.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Or call them tacos.
Like, it's mine. She's supposed to be smart. Then you've got people on The View saying that she should be the health. What did they say?
Right. She should be the Surgeon General. Whoopi said Dr. Biden should be the Surgeon General. And even the other hens on The View were like, Whoopi.
She's got a PhD, you twats. You know what? I think we found a different clip that sums it up a little bit better.
I was born a poor black child.
I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home.
Naven, you're not our natural born child.
I'm not.
I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home.
But we raised you like you were one of us.
You mean I'm gonna stay this color?
I love that. And I'm just the right age with like The Jerk. I know that young people are probably like, what is that movie? But that is one of my favorite movies of all time. Barb, a great find on that clip.
That's great.
Barb, you had some statistics, and I know I've heard them also, that there's no way that this could be the truth. This is the other big problem. There was no Puerto Rican community. What did you see?
Oh, yeah. So I got to look that up again because I forget. But it was somewhere around like 0.3 something % of Delaware's population was of Puerto Rican descent in that at the time that Biden first ran for office. And so Yeah, when you break this down and you look at the demographics of Delaware, you see that in itself, not like, everyone made fun of Palin for saying, I can see Russia from here, right? But now Biden is suddenly Puerto Rican because he passed by a couple of Puerto Rican people on the street one day or something. Like, I don't even know what to make of this anymore. It's just absolutely fucking absurd. It is like a bad movie.
Well, you got when you use the Palin reference, you've got the Kamala with the goggles last week looking at the North Korea, whatever they call it.
Right.
And they're like, it's right there. Like,
right.
Like she's, oh, wow. Oh yeah, I can see it. Madam Vice President, right there.
It is hard to say who is the biggest dumb fuck in power today. Like who is the biggest one? I don't even know. There's like,
well, Biden clearly is the biggest. He was
final roundtable question: who is dumber, Kamala or Biden?
I would say Biden because Kamala has somehow managed to stay where she is. Like, well, I mean, Biden's still there too, right? But I would say Kamala because maybe. Oh, I don't know. Actually, I'm going to walk that back. I don't know. I think it's a dead heat.
Dumber, Biden has a medical disorder. Like he has a problem. So he has justification to be an idiot. Kamala is just a whore. Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
Stephen A. Smith was actually on Jesse Waters today. I was impressed as much as he drives me batshit crazy. He was on Jesse Waters and they were talking about Kamala and he was like, I just don't think she's been given the opportunity. I think she actually is a smart woman. And I think that Stephen A. Smith for that was an idiot. And Jesse Waters was cracking up, saying Kamala is he goes, she just hasn't been given the chance. She's been given the chance. She cannot speak on a stage to save her soul.
That's a ridiculous statement.
It is a ridiculous statement. I think
Kamala. What do you mean she hasn't been given the chance? She's the fucking vice president of the United States. She was tasked with going to the border. She didn't go to the border. She word salad after word salad. She has plenty of opportunities and she ruins it and puts her foot in the mouth each and every time. So you don't get given an opportunity. You take opportunity, right? When you take the reins by the horns and you take advantage of it and you make the most of it. And she cannot do that. And that is why she will never, ever be president. And after this is over, her career will be over as a politician. Guaranteed.
Put in the comments real fast as we're wrapping up. Put in the comments whether or not, if you think Biden is, how did I say it before? Biden smarter or Kamala smarter? How do I say, let's say who's smarter?
Which one's dumber?
Which one's dumber? Okay. Which one is dumber? Joe Biden. So that's what we're doing. We'll put it in the comments. Which one is dumber? Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? That's the question. Which one's more incompetent? I think that's an interesting idea because, Dave said, I don't think we'll ever have Kamala be the president because they know they can't. They will put up as many, as Sarah Gonzalez would say, fake Joe Bidens before we will ever have a Kamala Harris.
Don't forget what was said in 2016 with Elizabeth Warren and Pocahontas being 142nd Cherokee. They all try to find ways to become relevant and relate to people that they want the votes for. That's all they do. They do this every election. Puerto Ricans, remember, and during 2020 election, they were actually considering making Puerto Rico a state, and they were talking about it. They only talk about these things during every election to try to get voters. That's all they're doing.
Right. Which set of handlers is smarter? That's great.
Right. And he was in Puerto Rico when he gave that statement, right?
Yeah, he was.
So he was pandering. He said, look, they have nothing to stand on. So obviously he's pandering for votes back home, right? And if you ask me, isn't this cultural appropriation at its worst? No one can take that clip seriously or even he's done. It's over.
100%. All right, so let's wrap it up, guys. Final words. And Dave, of course, I know that Barb is wearing the Living the Dream shirt, so make sure you throw that out there and give your final thoughts. We will start with David Brown.
As our friend Bobby Sausalito would always say, the world is trash. It's a total clown show right now. And I'm hoping the midterm elections, which are 36 days away, will kind of bring us back to some sort of logic, sanity, common sense. You know, what is it? Biden's press secretary, what they say like a few weeks ago after Biden's speech, like if you're not for the majority of the people, you're extreme, right? Like, I mean, I think the majority of the people right now are pretty much fed up with what's going on in this country. So I guess we're all extreme now.
I'm extreme. I'm insane in the membrane. Barb, what do you got? Captain
I
Rush.
know. You just told me to shut my mouth in the chat, Anthony Russo. So I'm going to shut my mouth.
You know, you said time to wrap it up, kids. I know. I see we're still doing halfway decent. We'll be under
No,
110.
we're not. Time management, very poor. People have things.
What happened to Barb? You're so weird.
You did this last week too.
She's the new Kevin. Start doing that to her.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Trust me, you're not the new Kevin. I do. If there's somebody I miss Kevin. I need to give him. Really quick, guys, Barb and Dave. Last thing, make sure you mention the shirts that you guys have. I've got the Great American Syndicate ticker on the bottom. All right, is that another one of your guys? Freedom Overload. What does that say?
Freedom over fear.
Oh, I dig that one. I haven't seen.
Well, yeah, we'll relaunch this one. We discontinued it, but we'll bring it back.
And tell Dave Brown that we'd like some lady cut t-shirts, please, because he doesn't believe me. Some lady cut t-shirts would be really nice. Just saying.
Yeah, but Barb, what you don't know, it's very hard to find, and you guys have all Made in America line. It's very hard to find Made in America all lady cut t-shirts. It's a true story.
Oh, well, you know, if it was easy, fucking everybody would be doing it. But maybe we should be the only person who has a Made in America ladies cut. Sure. I thought we were, we're better than that. Just because it's hard, we're not going to do it. We're a great example, Anthony Russo. Great example.
Casey.
So inspiring. I'm so inspired by you.
Casey, what you got?
Yeah, I just love it. Yeah, our country's we're in big trouble. $31 trillion in debt. Our credit score is a negative. We're trying to pick fights with every other country that we shouldn't be doing and fighting wars that we shouldn't be. But it's great. Love being on here with everybody, talking, exposing all the garbage. But unfortunately, we just got to make sure we show up and vote every election. So November is right around the corner.
And Casey's shirt is "Taxation is Theft" is what it says. So that is on the Awake Not Woke store. Again, we are working by the beginning of next year. Hopefully we'll have everything merged together. I'm sorry that the echo came back because all my soundproofing came. I did the best I could. We'll try to figure something out. Yes, Barb did get me Rose. Suck on a bag of Cheetos. Anyways.
Thanks, Rose. Thanks, Nikki. And thanks, Jeanette. I saw you before too.
Ooh,
okay.
God, it's hard on this one, but I'll make a comment maybe later, but we're not going to go to it. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys like the new format. It's a little bit shorter, to the point, a little bit more news. We will start bringing on guests. I had to get comfortable with doing this again. I forgot how hard these live shows are, and now that I got a whole setup, there's a lot of different things going on. With that said, the world is trash, but you all and the people around you still have the power to be the change you wish to see in the world. So please, guys, in the love of sweet baby Jesus, still have faith in our country, in our people, and just remember to live the dream. And whatever you do, don't listen to Barb.
When did we get Joe Biden is hosting this? It can't